And this is the moment of truth for a plumber. How much are you going to get? Right, we've just been called out to no hot water. Obviously, I've not had a proper look at the pipework, but I think these are doing the heating, these two boilers, oil fired. And I think that grant on the wall is doing the hot water, feeding that unvented cylinder, or clarifier, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, we've got multiple circuits coming off here. I think somebody else has been out and they say it's the 2-port, but they've had the head off it. I think they said it's a Sunvit one. I'm not touched that because I've not isolated it yet. So we'll do safe isolation. We will test the component to make sure it is faulty, but I do trust the guy who's been out. And we'll probably just put Honeywell one in because I haven't actually got a Sunvit head. There's the head, look. So it should just be a case of trying to find somewhere to isolate the water. Draining it down. We've got some sort of mixing valve assembly on that as well. So we'll just drain that down. You might find they put that on for the safety for the unvented. But we'll have a look. We'll get it going anyway. So I've had a quick look at the pipe work. It looks like this does feed off this oil boiler. So we're going to isolate that flow there, which drops down here, and hopefully there's somewhere on the return. The return sort of goes back. We've not got a big circuit anyway to drain if we do need to drain it. So if I can't find somewhere on the return, it might, not that one. I don't know, I'll have a quick look and we'll see if we can get it isolated. If not, I'll just probably snatch it. So this boiler's got its own fill loop and its own pump inside, so it's a systems boiler. I was just concerned because sometimes over there there's obviously a big pressurisation unit which is going to fill this boiler up, and if you don't isolate that, it'll obviously keep filling when you're trying to do it. So I've shut the return off at the top. That cold there was nearly turned off, I'm not too sure why. So that's the mains cold into the cylinder, so that drops along, down and then in. But I'm not too sure why somebody had nearly knocked it off. Whether it had just been caught, I'm not too sure. So we'll see if we can crack this valve and hopefully we don't get too much water. Right, I've isolated the power and checked for dead. We are all dead now. I just used my tester. Obviously you should use a proper proving unit and stuff to check your tester, but obviously if you don't know how to do safe isolation, obviously shortly be working on electrics. So we're just going to hopefully swap that straight in there, hopefully. To be honest, the threads probably should be okay, but we'll have to wait and see. I've let the pressure out through the fill loop. Obviously always be a little bit careful because you'll have what's in the pipe. But hopefully there shouldn't be any pressure. So we'll see if that pipe will move. Probably won't even move for us, to be honest with you. Might even have to disconnect it off the coil. Yeah, I would say I just have to take that lagging off, disconnect it off the coil, and hopefully we should get a little bit of movement then. And this is the moment of truth for a plumber. How much are you going to get? A little bit. Not too bad. Not too bad. So we'll quickly get that swapped. So obviously it's only going onto the boiler ash floor anyway. I'll just get my bucket underneath it. We'll get that swapped and we'll get it put back together. Hopefully we'll get the hot water back on. So I've just nipped all my nuts back up on the valves. So they're all nice and tight. We'll put a little bit of pressure back in the boiler. I'll just make sure I did get that one. We'll put a little bit of pressure back in the boiler and get it filled back up, and then I've just got to wire it up then. Hopefully that should be fine. Alright, just locked open the valve. The auto air vent was hissing. We're just going to pressurise this up to just over 1 bar, because sometimes on these with the pressure switch inside these they can be quite sensitive, so you're better off leaving them just above 1 in case it collects a bit of air, because you will get a call back because the boiler will stop, which is a pain. So I always go just over 1 on these, to be honest with you. But yeah, valves here, we just got to wire it up. Just got to try and feed it back through that conduit if we can, which is going to be a bit of a pain. If I can't feed it back through, I'll just have to put a rig in 5-way adapter, because it goes into that control box there. It's got a separate isolator in that for the pump and the, not for the pump, for the zone valve and the mixing valve. But it depends whether I can get it back through. We'll have a look. Right, we've turned the power back onto the boiler. It's all fired back up. I'm not sure if it was firing up before, but it's definitely calling for hot water now. What I've also done is just trim the lag in. I'll probably just tidy that up a little bit more, because the lever seems to be catching a little bit on the lag in. So I just tidied my cut up a little bit, but it was literally, it's pressing against it. I'm not too sure if this one just don't quite stick out as far, but apart from that, we'll just let it heat up and that should be job done. I think that valve, somebody probably just caught it by accident because that's the mains into the cylinder. So, or whether they're isolating it down to sort of reduce the pressure a little bit, I'm not too sure. I'll probably leave it about there because it was literally nearly off. So I'll probably put it back full open. If anybody says anything, you can only do your best. But apart from that, easy one sorted, I think. It's always worth just double checking your cylinder set at the right temperature. This one's actually set at 65, which we'll probably leave alone because obviously the Legionella boys check that sort of stuff anyway. It needs to be a minimum of 60, but it's obviously we've got secondary return. We're just going to leave it, make sure it heats up a few minutes. Obviously the secondary return temperatures are right down on 20 because obviously the hot water's been off. But the valve is firing now. It is cooling, so hopefully. And the pipes are starting to get hot, so hopefully that should be okay now. We should have some hot water, but we'll leave it to heat up a few minutes. Make sure the cylinder stat is cutting it off. Obviously we're right down, but we're 20, just over 20 at the top. So yeah, hopefully that should be okay. I just had a little bit of a panic attack because I just couldn't see this composite valve for the unvented cylinder. I always do my safety checks before I leave, but it has got a composite valve and expansion vessel. I thought somebody had maybe put one in without. You can, to be fair, you can use these on tank fed. You don't have to use them on unvented, but it is mains cold water going into the unit. So I assume that's all correct. All I came for was no hot water, but I always just have a quick double check just to make sure everything is okay. But yeah, this one's fine. Although you could stand here picking faults all day because technically that's not got a ton dish on. But it is what it is, you know. You can only make a note on your ticket because it really should have a ton dish there in case it ever froze, and then, although it would probably spill out there, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's fine. Right, we're back on this one today, guys. Hopefully I can't actually turn the lights off because it's on PIR, so hopefully it's not flashing too much. What we've got to do, obviously this job's all done now. They want this basin moving to over there, so we'll have to cut the silicone off, move the unit. I don't know what we'll do with the tiles, probably have to replace the tiles. I don't know if they'll come off or not. We've got hot and colds already in that box in that feed in the bath, and there is actually a waste down there, so I'm tempted to tee into that waste. I know I shouldn't really do it, it's not best practice, but I'll have a look anyway, see, because we've got to hide the pipes if not. I don't know if I've got room to get another waste in because I want it sort of central. So if not, I'll have to chop into the wall. So I'll have a look at that. But yeah, it's a bit of a pain. Obviously, I fitted all this a couple of weeks ago, and they've come around and said they want this moving. And yeah, so we just have to basically do that. You know, it is what it is. We got all the toilet done. It's all been cleaned professionally, so it all looks beautiful. But it's just to want that moving. So we've got that to do. And the only other thing they picked up on was in this bathroom. We didn't actually do anything in this bathroom. They want a bath shower screen putting on here. So I've just got this to do. The rebate of the tile, I just have to silicone down there. You can only do your best. So the only thing we did in here was put a blender on the bath, but we've just got that to do as well. So they're the only two snagging items. Other than that, as I say, I didn't fit any of this. This one was pre-existing. They were the only things they picked up on, which ain't too bad really. So we got all this finished. I didn't film any of this. Noisy extractor fan, but that's original. All we did is the units in the bath, and yeah, so the whole lot got done. It looks alright, to be fair. I'll quickly show you downstairs. You can fast forward if you're not interested, but I'll just show you the job. So we got obviously all these rads done. This was all the garage before, so there's a rad around that corner. The boiler's outside. We put the cylinder in here, so I've got all the unvented cylinder done. And just in the utility room as well, we put a shore stop in. So we did the kitchen as well. We're not fitting the oven. The electrician will fit that. He's got a wire up. We just did that tool wrap there. We moved that radiator there, and we put a shore stop in. So that's pretty much the job. There was quite a bit to do, but a lot of the heating system was original, so we just did what we did. But yeah, we just got to move that basin and fit the shower screen, and that's it. I might set the GoPro up on this one. It's the first time I used it. What I might do is just get some shots of me fitting the shower screen. I know it's probably not very interesting, but I just want to see what it looks like and how I can edit the video. So I'll unbox all the shower screen first start, and then I'll just set the GoPro up somewhere. I've got a little tripod thing for it, if I can do this. I'll show you in a second anyway. That's my little GoPro. It's just a GoPro Hero 8. I bought this bumper and the tripod thing for it as well, so that turns into a selfie stick as well, but it does act as a tripod. So I'll set that up somewhere and try and get some shots. Right, I don't know if the GoPro picked up any of that, but I did film it all. That's basically the process. It's dead easy really. The only awkward bit is just balancing the screen up. For a start, I use a bit of polystyrene, as hopefully it showed in the video. I just need to tidy up the silicone in. I want to bead the silicone down the outside. I'll probably pump that full of clear silicone, I think. So I'll wipe that white off and just use clear down the outside. Tidy it up at the bottom, and I'll give it a good spray test to make sure it's all not leaking. But apart from that, it's pretty much done. Looks okay. Sometimes these seals at the bottom are a bit of a pain, but you just have to like train them to go in. I didn't break the bath, it was already broke. But yeah, I cleaned all this excess silicone off. We'll give that a wipe, reseal that, and yeah, job done. Nice and easy. I decided to use a small bead of white up there. I think it looks okay though, to be fair. I've just had to feather it in where the tile meets, but I think that's acceptable. I'll give it a good spray on the screen. I'll let the silicone dry for half an hour or so when I get the basin moved upstairs, and we'll give it a spray, make sure it doesn't leak. But other than that, I just need to tidy up. I will wipe the bath out, and then that'll be job done. Just moving this unit. I've got most of it set up now. My mate's done most of the hard work. We just basically got to pipe it up. So we just do it as neat as we can. It's always awkward when you're doing stuff twice, because it never seems to go back the same, and always ends up a little bit different. But we just got a waste there hot and cold, so we just bring them straight up with May lines onto there. It should be okay, and then we just cut the shelf, and that's sort of the best we can sort of do with it. I've pretty much got all this connected in. I'm just going to cut my shelf. It's not as good as it was before, but it does the job. It's perfectly acceptable plumbing. We've got 2 service valves, but obviously got May lines where it goes onto the flexes, and obviously we've got a trap. So just need to, the tiler's got to come back and tile, and obviously there'll be some decorating to do where the old unit was anyway, so they'll touch up around the boxings and stuff. But apart from that, we'll just get the shelf fitted, doors back on, and that'll be pretty much us. I've just got, yeah, that's fine.